Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Real People Off the Record podcast. What's going on, everybody? Good?
Same old, same old.
Same old. Act like you do stuff.
Oh,
You don't even.
Same old, same old. Means the blessings are still rolling in. That's what it means to me.
Well, it's because you got a baby. That should be the only thing on your mind right
everybody clap it up. Jay just had a baby.
She's actually 2 weeks old today.
now. Jay had sex. Look at that. Jay had sex.
Lost my virginity and had a baby all in one shot, right?
Was that
He's
one time, Jay?
Yeah,
One
yeah.
time you had sex and that's it?
That's it, man. I was saving myself for that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just join us and congratulate Jay just chilling.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's been a blessing.
And our co-hosts from via Zoom. It's the official show.
You already know New York City in the building. We're doing this, baby.
What's going on?
Man, I'm just living this regular people life.
We regular people, right?
Real people.
Regular people.
Regular
Real
people doing stuff.
Regular people.
I mean, we got to do what we got to do.
So
what we got going? I'm excited for this show.
This one here hits home, just like LD hit home. If y'all don't know who LDJ is, go click 2 episodes back. A man holds it down, and if you watch the whole LDJ episode, you watched us talk about a man by the name of Cinemax. We call him Max, Cinemax. Chris, if you want to be called Chris. I try not to call people by their government name, but this is the man we were talking about. The man, the myth, the legend, because he deserves his flowers, because he's behind movies, he's behind big productions. I mean, one of the first studios I ever went to that was in Rockland County that looked and was super official was Cinemax Studio. I've been to studios in New York City. I've been to studios, other boroughs and everything. But in Rockland County, Cinemax is the official studio. And I want to welcome my brother, my homeboy, Cinemax, a.k.a. Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Guys.
Now, I was doing some research on you. Okay? And, I'm actually, I'm a cinematographer myself, and I know you have a little experience in doing such.
Just a little.
Just a little. So I think I read something about like your first like videos that you would record had to do with like skateboarding.
Yep.
Skateboarding videos.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah, sure.
I was a skater, so that's why I hit hard, because I was a skater growing up in the 90s. And
I was retired in the late 90s, but mid-late 90s, I think I retired in 97, 98.
Like, I'm a huge fan, because like
it all starts with skateboarding for me in the sense like it was an escape. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens. Terrible place to be. Great place to be from.
Yes.
So as a kid, I couldn't really hang out in that neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I went to Blockbuster Video. I got turned on by Powell Peralta's Public Domain, and that was it. I saw Ray Barbie doing 360 ollies, and I was like, I want to do what those kids were doing. In my neighborhood, they were like, oh, you're on that totally radical white boy Tony Hawk shit. I have to hide my skateboard and walk with it. Eventually, a lot of kids in the city gravitated towards it, so it became like a thing that Black kids, Spanish kids, Asian kids, and ironically, because it was, it's not exactly a competitive sport, it builds a brotherhood.
Yes, it does.
Kids on the streets
and support.
And it's not competitive in the sense that people that skateboard understand one thing about skateboarding, it's that it's 90% falling. So,
yes. And it hurts.
Success rate is very low.
Yes, it is.
It teaches kids how to overcome failure at a young age. And so even in filming skateboard videos, like I know you know about skateboarding, a lot of it is watching somebody fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then
all the time.
Eventually,
I never thought about it this way, bro. Like, I swear to God, I've never, ever thought about it this way until Max just said that. Like, all right, so this is why, and Tone, my bad for cutting you off.
No, you're good.
What you're about to ask.
Oh, good.
But this is the reason why we call him Cinemax. just understand the whole picture he just painted by what he just said in what 6 sentences.
Mhm.
This is the reason why we call him Cinemax. He paints a picture and he understands. Like he just painted a whole picture for
I'll
me.
get to it actually. I'll tell you exactly how it happened with the Cinemax thing. So, long story short,
Oh, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. We going down it all.
So I had a
let Tone ask his question.
I had a bit of a skateboard phase as well, and it resonates with me heavy too because I was always I guess the weakest link. I was the camera guy. I was the guy following because
too, bro,
my
same
kick
vibe,
flips.
you get it.
Yeah, my kick flips were in
All
there, so
my
I was
friends
following
got
with the skateboard.
millions from skateboarding, bro. You don't even know. They're all like big time in skateboarding. Motherfuckers is sitting there skateboarding at the barracks every day.
Yep.
You know, they still kicking with Steve Vera and fucking Vinny Ponte and those guys and all the Nike team. I'm in touch with the kids that are the now too.
Okay.
Just like how it's like like how it is to do a kickflip. I'm watching this kid fucking Aurelien Giroux. He's doing 360 ollie kickflips over cars. You just say to yourself, "What the fuck is the kid's feeding?"
Yep.
So they understand that the guys before them laid the groundwork. So there's a respect factor between the kids
Oh yeah.
and the
And the OGs.
Well, you got to think about it. I know you were talking about like it's 90% falling. It's such a crucial lesson. Like you got to pick yourself up and you earn your bumps and bruises and you learn from it. But not only that, with all the stuff that we do on a skateboard, like we defy physics. We have to understand momentum. We have to understand.
too.
Yeah, there's
And
so
there's
many different
nobody
things.
that's doing the wrong shit. Your shit is dope. Your shit is dope. His shit is dope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can ollie, Tony Hawk will clap for you.
Yep.
If you've done it before, because Tony Hawk understands what it's like. Even him, I mean, he just fucking got hurt. He's learning how to ollie again at fucking however old he is.
Yeah, he's up there.
Tony Hawk, man.
It's a beautiful thing what skateboarding teaches.
Oh,
me. I was seeing a guy overweight. He just did a fucking Smith grind on a handrail. I was saying there's hope for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, it's cool
Yeah,
how
it's
supportive
something
skateboarders are though, for real. Because I remember my first time dropping in. It was at the skate park right next to Yankee Stadium on
nice.
161, and
Well,
it was all these super good skateboarders.
How does your
around.
face feel?
Yeah. and I'm expecting like normally because I see how the skateboarders would treat like the scooter kids, like they're always in the way. So I was expecting like somebody to be like, "Yo, hurry up, man, hurry!"
No.
But like when I got ready to drop in, everybody stopped. Everybody was like, "Yeah," they started clapping their skateboards on the ramps, like hyping me up. And then when I went down, I swear to God, it was like I hit a buzzer beater on a goddamn championship game or something. It was nuts.
It's
The whole
scary as fuck.
It is.
I never got into skateboarding. That was one thing of the culture I've never
It's a
done.
tough. It's a
It's
tough
only,
athletic.
and it's probably, and I honestly equate that because I'm fat and I don't want to fall hard.
You know, I've been struggling with my weight for a long time. The only reason I've been losing weight in the last 2 years, last 3 years, is because I had a daughter. I got on a stress diet, the baby mama drama, and for years, I'm 45, about to be 46. So for years, I was doing the late night studio shit, working with all these people, not really giving a fuck, not thinking, saving money, eating cheap food. And then
How many times we had McDonald's, Max? How many times we went to the diners and all that?
I'm tired of sponsoring the corporations. I basically are making good, clean food. Personally, I just stay away from mostly anything white. No pasta, no bread.
Wow.
No rice, no
respect.
I don't know, but believe it or not, you can find a lot of fun things to eat and keep it great. So like some of my friends are like, "Oh, I'm going vegan," and it's mostly vegan. But man, I'll fucking throw some filet mignon on there, some fucking good blackened Creole chicken on there, avocados, whatever. Good shrimp tacos every once in a while. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot to eat if you just decide to cut the bullshit out, and then basically anything that turns into sugar, right?
Yes.
And then the fucking the sodas, all that fruit, everything that's sold at a gas station except for seltzer is the thing. And so another thing I've learned too, because I had a good ex-girlfriend, believe it or not, but shit didn't work out with us, and I learned one good thing from her is that man, the limes, you gotta have the limes, you know what I mean, and everything just to help yourself stay healthy. And then and then before you know it, the stress, everything else, the bills getting high, all the work, all the people I work with, they're very demanding, and then losing the weight, you start eating less.
Good. Very
Yeah.
nice. Congratulations.
I'm ready to ollie and nollie kick flip.
I don't know if my niece can take it right now.
Right. Hey, I also tend to stay away from the whites.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
You're
nice.
sitting right next to one.
No,
Tony D doesn't count. He's Italian. That's basically that's like
not everything counts. Everything, we're all the same, man. I know.
I agree.
I see my neighbors. I live in an area where my neighbors fear what goes on with me, and they have the feeling that
They
somebody.
fear you because you're a little darker than them. Let's be honest. I know where you live.
Yeah, but
They
Yeah.
fear you because you're a little darker.
I think they have the fear that one of those movies is going to come true. Somebody with a low rock is going to do a drive-by. I don't know.
do
All
do
right, trust me.
do you have
I know-
rappers over
I know
your
where
house?
you live. Yeah. His studio's in the house.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's what it is. So you're on the J. Cole vibe right now, where he says the neighbors think you're selling dope.
I think my neighbors think I'm selling dope.
Yeah, that's a part of my life. I was actually getting a criminal charge from the town of Clarkstown, but not because of them, because my neighbors had filed charges against me, and I had
For the noise and people.
No, there's no noise. Our we spent a fortune
A ton of money. Yeah.
on soundproof.
Oh yeah.
No, it was just that basically we were getting complaints like there's a lot of people with expensive cars coming by, and that turned into a lot of police
Bullshit.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
but the truth really is that the Clarkstown police are cool as fuck. They would always come by, and most of these guys are human beings that know who a lot of these rappers are. So
And a lot of them are our age. Like you're 4 years older than me. I just turned 41, but a lot of them are our age now, and they know who you are and what you're not, doing.
Cool, man. Like I ironically the other night they had I think they had Busta Rhymes and I don't know.
This is about to be an epic episode, just so y'all know.
I'm so sorry. It was El Camino. And I don't remember if it was Chase Fetty and maybe another artist who I shouldn't name, but they were there. They were at my house, and they basically left my house. And instead of making the left to go up, they went down the street and got caught in the cul-de-sac with a Clarkstown cop who just happened to be chilling there. Pulled them over, rolled the window down, knew what they were doing. They were huffing it up.
Yep.
And then the officer said, "Come on, man, let me hear that verse." They were forced to do a free fucking performance. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
but ultimately, they ended up laughing and thinking, damn, these guys are cool as fuck. And they really just keep the neighborhood safe. So they gave them directions and showed them the way to go.
But let's be honest, bro. Again, me and you grew up almost in the same, era. Like I said, you're 4 years older than me. But a lot of these cops will respect you if you respect them.
yes.
And they're fans. They're fans. When I used to be out, DJing and everything, they were fans of mine. But they just wanted us to keep the bullshit to a minimum, and I could respect that. You know what I mean? I understand. This is my job. You have your job. I have my job. But we can respect each other. I don't have to disrespect you. You don't have to disrespect me. But I can't be liable for everybody that comes to my party. I can only have people respect. Just same with you.
I can be liable. That's actually the thing. You see, that's the thing. It's
you're different. Yeah, you're different.
Well, it's not even about me. What I'm saying is it's an energy. So I make it very easy to work with artists that have momentum, right? So
Yep.
It's a great place to stop. They know where they're coming to, they know what to expect, and they know how I'm basically going to take care of them, right? And so the attitude is a very good one, and I have very good relationships, almost like brother, family, sister relationships with everybody that I work with, because it is in a house. I got my mom hanging out, usually cooking food. So you know what I'm trying to say? It's like that kind of thing that's going on here. And then And then yeah, there is this state of the art studio that people use to get their music out, and for what it's worth, there's an energy in um, the people that are creating momentum. So
Hmm.
they want to affiliate themselves with each other, and
Yes.
and money is always a factor too. So I found myself just basically now, whatever 2023, I'm in the realm of a lot of independent artists, that can have a bridge to getting their music released, and that's basically what we've created
Yeah.
here.
And that's
Yeah.
much appreciated in this like scope of things where the big record companies are as selective as they are, but now with the independent artists, I think the independent artists have a great market for them to do in such this climate because of how big we are in social media and everything like that. I think the independent artists that like can probably do a whole lot better than when if they signed with a larger record deal.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know plenty of them that are doing extremely well. It's unbelievable.
Hmm.
Yeah, the times have definitely changed. I know. I probably shouldn't even bring this guy up, but 6ix9ine really changed a lot of stuff. Like as far as how he put out single after single after single with no pressure from the label for an album. And
Yeah, I mean,
we ain't messing with no rats, but he definitely did.
no, listen. In terms of business, no matter who the artist is, um, every artist wants to be felt. You know what I'm saying? They want to be heard. And the truth is, what separates the volume of, or I should say, what separates the peak interest has a lot to do with how you finance gaining visibility on your path to success in the music industry. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So how you are spending money and how you're building relationships and cultivating um, those relationships with people on the financial side and creating the incentive for people to stick with you through your career is a very important thing, and I think that's really what separates artists to the mass. How people perceive shit, I guess, in terms of how things are going down in the mass. But there's always an undercurrent independent movement, and yeah, you guys have heard it all. I mean, you guys know some people get to where they're trying to go, some people never. I
Hmm.
talk about it all the time. It's like Biggie Smalls, one of the greats. I don't think he ever got to feel his true success, how
Nope.
people really felt
Agree.
about
Absolutely.
Agree.
it. Um,
Yeah, for sure. He
so many
definitely. I would have
artists
liked to
never.
see him write some more R&B music and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know about Biggie Smalls and his R&B side and his gospel voice and things like
So the
that.
crazy part is that this is a perfect segue. So you just brought up Biggie, and I know you've recorded with Black Rob, G Dep, the whole Bad Boy, era at that time. Is that your first big recording, or what was your first big recording that you would say is big for you?
Um, I don't know. I just feel like I've always been in and around great music shit. I,
Hmm.
I've, I've honestly been amazed by the power that music has over people
Yep. Agreed.
over the years. I think certain people, for whatever reason, God, I guess, allows them to be felt, and society has an attraction because they have a connection with a piece of art that resonates how they feel.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
think artists basically trying to express how the people feel usually. I mean, ultimately, hip hop was always at its core the voice of the unheard people.
Yep.
Now, with social media and basically everybody being able to get a $35 device in their pocket, they can all be heard.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are being heard, and I think now it's a matter of what you choose to discern, to listen to, or identify with at the time you want. And I think music has become more of like clothing or food.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, where you have a taste for this one day, some days you might have a taste for that. You might identify with this. Some people are, for example, hardcore vegans, so they're only gonna have Kale. That's it. Only hip hop. Only jazz. You know,
Yeah.
some people are like, I listen to everything. I personally listen to everything myself. So
But what do you think your first big recording?
so I don't know. I mean, I was 12 years old in the studio, not recording anything. I got to see some pretty big shit happening. I was there with Levert, you know.
Talk to him. Talk to him, Max. Let him know.
Well, yeah, that was one of the big recordings that I got to see first off.
Who was that? I couldn't quite hear.
Levert, it was like on New Jack City soundtrack. It was like that was the first time I was in the studio. I was watching the New Jack City soundtrack get made with some guys singing around an oil barrel, singing New Jack City, whatever. So him about New Jack City in the '80s, and I met that guy ironically skateboarding. I was in Main Street Flushing.
Nice.
You know, I had it's funny. I had I just by being into music, I can look someone in the eye and there's a twinkle that they have, and I just know. And I approached some guy that had that twinkle, and I just said, "Yeah, man, like you do music." He said, "Yeah, what? You play guitar?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know." I said, "Where are you going?" He's like, "For a session. Why don't you come and join me?" I just met the guy at a bus stop, and he was going on the 7 train. We went to some studio in the 20s in Manhattan. I had my skateboard with me. I hung out with him. Um, he did this fucking session. Um, you know, I was mystified, really. I didn't know what it was. I was more impressed by all the buttons in the console, like a little astronaut and shit. And I had no idea what everything was doing, what it was about.
And you said you were 12?
Yeah, I mean, before that, you got to know, like, so I lived across the street from Salt and Pepper, right? Um, you know, growing up, right? So I was like across the street was them. So and around the corner from me um, was Run DMC's house. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm on that block on Hollis Court Boulevard. Okay,
Right? Yeah.
like Reverend Run or I don't know which one of Run DMC was the one who had the house on Whitehall, but they
I
used
think it
to,
was Jay.
I don't know, they used to drive down 211 and make
Yeah.
on 90th Avenue,
Yeah.
and that was in front of my house. So I used to see all those guys with the Mercedes and stuff, LL, all of them as kids. Those guys like Russell Simmons was hitting on my mom when I was a kid. You know, so
Russ, that dude.
my neighborhood was bad too, right? So going to high school was this place called Andrew Jackson. That's where 50 went to school. 50 and I are the same age. So he would tell you, like, that's the school where, like, you know, whatever. There was just a big shooting on the first day of school. And nobody wanted to go to school. There was a high dropout rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the football team was undefeated, 17-0. I remember that. I never played football, but I remember Andrew Jackson was undefeated. This was like 91,
Nice.
92. I'd see 50. I'd see those guys. Those were some like, you know, scary neighborhoods at the time. Yeah, you try to get away from that shit. So I ended up going to some high school called Cardozo to get away from it all. Ironically, that's in the neighborhood where Ja Rule was from. And he was from like Bayside, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. Even though I know he might have had some background in Hollis. But
That takes me
I'm
back.
saying that to say that like a kid across the street from my house, not Salt and Pepper, his family just was making Jamaican music, like West Indian, you know, calypso style. I can't remember the other.
Compa.
Yeah, compa, all that kind of Caribbean music. But they had an MPC 60, a Korg M1, a fucking Porter Studio, and I used to hang out in there and I would try making beats. And I remember purchasing NWA when it came out, right, in the record stores. I must have been 11 years old. And that was it. I remember, you know, Easy E, those guys doing the beats, I remember, oh, that shit's downstairs. Any kid could do it. You could do it. The kids down the block is doing it. Look, push it real good as they doing it. And then the craziest part is my mom. Like we had a big record store in Jamaica, Queens called Serenade Records. The guy was a legend. Um, Run DMC used to do their record signings there. All the artists used to do their shit there in Hillside Avenue in Queens, right? So my mom was always copping all the records. But my mom had a bigger influence than music, and a lot of people in our house used to argue about what music was. Those music arguments in the 80s, I guess, shaped what I ended up doing because I ended up feeling like I needed to please everybody in that third. With my mom and dad got divorced. Long story short, fucking ended up in some house on the corner, 211 and 90th, and she was on her own with two kids, so she rented rooms. And before you know it, a 3-bedroom house turned into a 13-room house. But in Jamaica, Queens, that means that, you might have a St. John student, thumbs up. You might have somebody working at JFK, thumbs up. The girl working at the Hilton at LaGuardia, thumbs up. But then you got a prostitute. Then you got a cop.
Yep.
Then you got a drunk. Then you got a crackhead. Then you got a thief. Then you got a gunman. Then you got this. Then you got that. So before you know it, you got a lot of personalities, but everybody's always arguing about the music. And but yeah, I had the ill record collection as a kid, and yeah, man, just fucking.
But that see, it comes back to my question. What do you feel was your biggest person you recorded first?
Yes. I guess maybe.
Would it have been Black Rob or G Def or before
Sure,
that?
I guess, but it's hard for me to say how to measure. I was working with Black Rob and CX by way of I was working with Black Rob CX because CX.
And everybody don't know CX, so explain who CX is.
Yeah, so all right. So in a nutshell, I'm 14, 15, and I got basically my neighbor got bad, so my mom moved up to Rockland County, Niagara. I came up here
For a fever.
Yeah, I was best friends with a kid named Harold Hunter, who was a big skateboarder in New York City. And I remember when we came up to Valley Cottage, he looked at me and he said, "Oh, nah, nigga, it's over. Like it's over. It's like you off the planet." And they were shooting the movie Kids at the time. I had introduced him to this kid named Leo Fitzpatrick, who ironically lived in Congers or something. And there was a skateboard park in Valley Cottage, which is why my mom picked this town to move to. So I ended up introducing Harold to Leo, and it ended up being perfect in the sense that somebody needed to play the role of the Kidtellian kid, which was obviously the kid who caught HIV.
Yep.
For years, Leo had to walk with having to explain the fact that he does not have HIV.
Oh man.
It was not.
Jay's whole face right now is like, bro, really? You a part of all this, bro? My boy Max is the Forrest Gump of hip hop.
It was not a documentary, but
I love that movie. I don't know.
Kids, I gotta check it out.
All those kids were my friends growing up in high school. But then I moved out of the city. I'm in Nyack. I'm making new friends out here. Very serious music guys. I meet my friend Dominic. He's playing drums. He introduced me to another kid named Adam Deitch, who's playing drums. Before you know it, I'm rapping and shit. And then I meet CX, who's just like fucking electrifying at rap. He's killing it. This is like 92,
Yeah.
At that time, they're putting me on to people like, yo, you gotta hear Redman, you gotta hear all this new explosive rap shit. And I was like, oh, there's a more open-minded energy when it comes to hip hop. It's a little bit more naive in Rockland because they don't have to like glue themselves to the mindset that's in Jamaica, which is basically fuck everybody else and Southside only.
Yeah.
And then, I was in this place where it's like, nah, bro, you gotta listen to this. You can listen to that. You can listen to this. So the musical journey growing up in Nyack is insane. And but just because of the background, I still wanted to make street music and I wanted to be felt by my friends back home. So I kept it going. Ironically, everybody my age just kept going. And so, you know, I would always be in crazy situations with rappers. And I guess, yeah, I ended up linking up with CX, and CX and I, we somehow navigated ourselves to getting a record deal with a guy named Mark Smalls.
Somehow, just somehow, right?
Yeah,
Just somehow.
well, I'm gonna tell you, this is the real shit. I was already making beats, right? So I'm coming up here making beats. I'm making beats with my boy Adam. Somebody hooked me up with a job at Ramapo Country Day Camp. I'm working. I'm a fucking camp counselor for these 11-year-old kids, you know, up in North Jersey. This is a true story too. So I'm working every day. I'm playing beats off the cassette, and one of these kids tells me, he's like, "Yo, man, you know," he comes up to me, real shrewd, real smart. He tells me, "You know, I might could help you in the music business, you know." As long as, you know, when you meet my pops, you're cool and shit. I'm gonna teach you how to talk to him so you can get yourself a deal.
Who is this kid?
So listen, so this kid, Harry's the kid's name, Harrison. So Harrison's like, yo, just, you know, just be easy. So I'm like, yeah, you know, of course, at this time, I'm 18 years old. I'm thinking, man, what the talking about, man? You crazy.
Of course.
So, you know, all these weeks go by and every day I'm playing these beats. He's like, yeah, play that one. Yo, crazy, man. I'm going to play that shit for my pops. You bugging, cuz. You know, he's talking ill to me. Young white boy. Talking crazy. You know, like all the way adult. Like, I might be able to get this deal done for you. Like, he's like, in a way, mimicking his dad. He's 11. So, I don't know what the fuck is going on. One day, the dad comes up to me. It's parent visitation day. You know what I mean? It's basically the end. You know, parents are going to come and give you a tip. Shit, some of these parents.
Wait for it. Go ahead.
$100. So the dad comes up to me. He's like, yeah, I hear you do music. I was like, yeah, man, I heard about you. I heard you work for a record. He's like, yeah, I work for a record label. You know, here's my card. You know, I'm looking. His name is Barry Weiss. He's the CEO of Jive Records. So I'm like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, yeah. So I'm like, yo, you signed KRS, Tropical Quest. He's like, listen, Chris, I'm gonna fucking personally mentor you. I'll A&R you. You call me up. You know, I got you. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I come back, I tell CX and my friends Adam, I'm like, yo, bro, I just met the president of Jive Records. Of course, he's like, yeah, right. We call him. His secretary at the time, this is a true story, his assistant, I won't call him a secretary, I don't want to be disrespectful, sorry.
No, you good.
He was his partner, I should say that.
Go ahead.
Myself. Edit those things out.
Go ahead. Don't worry about it.
His partner, his name was Jim Backus. I don't know, you know. So Jim Backus would be like, yeah, what do you want? I'm like, yeah, listen, I'm talking to Barry, and Barry would be like, who's this kid, Chris Pinset? Like, no, patch him through. So before you know it, I would call the CEO every single day, 2:00 after school. Like, yo, man, you hear the beat I sent you? And my mom was working in Midtown, so my mom would go out, give my mom the cassette. She would go and bring it to Barry, and he would tell me, yo, listen, man, I heard your 4 or 5 tracks. The first one was good. The second one, bro, why'd you switch the beat like that? I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but the third one's all right, man. I like the third joint. You got some shit popping on the third joint. And then so he was like, you know, giving me some tips, and then of course CX wanted to hear himself and what the feedback was, and he loved it. He was like, yo, CX is dope, but the hook was weird. That hook was dope on the other track. You should put that on the back of the other track. He was always trying to give us pointers. And then one day, you know, I was like, yo, man, like, what's up, man? Like, what's up? Like, you know, being a young kid, you know, like, what's up, man? We gonna get a deal or some shit? And he was like, yo, listen, you're gonna get a deal when you don't need one.
Yep.
See ya. Yeah, and I thought about it. It was profound. You know,
Oh
I
my
realized
God.
he was like, I'm going to reach out to you when you don't need me.
That's some Mr. Miyagi shit he hit you with.
Yeah, he hit me with that. And always called, picked up, so it was never like beat vibes. But anyway, the whole point I was saying is Jim Backus, I think, ended up becoming his partner, assistant secretary. Anyway, that guy ended up becoming CEO of Sony, I think, at one point. And I think anyway, so those guys basically ended up owning BMG. They ended up, you know, basically making billions of dollars with the music business. That connection helped me meet other people. Naturally, I was getting invited in the 90s to the KRS-One releases, like the Rapture and shit. I remember meeting Eddie Murphy.
Hold on. Let's break down your accolades real quick, because I feel like sometimes you're too humble. And I respect the fact that you're humble, and you know I love you. You're my brother. But your accolades go down with Bad Boys, Black Rob, G-Dep, KRS-One, Chuck D, MC Light, Redman, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, Method Man, Pete Rock, which you know that's our brother too, Timberland. I mean Jermaine Paul, that's the homie from the block too. Alicia Keys. I mean, bro, you talk so humbly, and that's the reason why I love and I hate you at the same time. Is because you are very humble and you never let any of this go to your brain. Because if I told you I was going to Rockland County tomorrow and I need a couch to sleep on, you would let me sleep on that couch right behind me.
Yeah, I give you another couch. I try to,
I give you another couch.
and I got another couch back there, but no, you know
But
what?
how can a brother like you that has all these accolades and everything like how do you stay grounded? How do you stay humble? Man, I got so many questions that I want the people to understand about you because I know you.
It's real easy. It's real easy. The bills got my name on them too. Yeah. And so then just like that, like I shop at Target, you know what I'm saying? Like straight the fuck up. That's my favorite brand right now, Goodfellow. Yeah.
Do you think you might be so humble because your introduction to the game was so young? Like maybe all of this
Look, this
just
is the
after a
truth.
while felt so
Yeah.
normal?
It's because no money was involved. Like Onyx wasn't rapping to be I mean, I'm sure they wanted the money, don't get me fucked up. I'm just saying it was more or less like we got the hardest sound. We're proving that we got the hardest sound. Like all the greatest artists weren't in it for the money, and I never was thinking about money ever. It just became as an adult, like growing up with the musicians I grew up with that put so much work in, and work ethic is so high. After a while, your parents and your friends look at each other and you're like, yo, bro, we should be getting money for this. Like, what the fuck?
But
And then,
my question from you that I've never asked you personally, and I've never knew about you, is how did your passion for music come from your passion from being a cinematographer, just being a videographer?
so this is
Where the passion come from?
okay, so I always had the keyboard and the beat machine, the guitar, a sampler, but I never had a microphone.
Okay.
Okay. And I was
So how do you put that with you taping everything? How do
checking
you
out.
put that to?
This is how it happened.
All right, so my bad.
And no, in the
Don't yell at me, bro.
No, I'm not,
I'm just
I had a computer. The computer was called the Commodore Amiga, the 2500 HD. It was a stereo in and out. It had a thing called the Super Gen to make videos and shit. So I was making my skateboard videos. I kept that shit. My dad gave it to me. He was living in the Bronx. He got rid of his basically his home video system. And one day it dawned upon me that yo, if I put the camera, the little high 8 camcorder into record mode, I could use the little Sony microphone. So my boy CX was like, now we got a microphone. And I looked at it, it said Sony. I thought, oh, look, there's the Sony mic. So I would point the shit right at his face, and he would record his raps over the beat, and I could capture the vocals from the tape of the 8mm.
Yep.
And I would have a fucking recording. So that's when he was like, yo, you Cinemax this bullshit. And so I was like, yeah, but we were just homemade. This is we didn't have a studio. So we were just scrapping that shit together as kids. Like, whoa, wait a minute, there's a microphone on the camcorder. Yeah, if you audio out left and right, you could put it into the mixer with the record player, and it'll go, and we could just put that into the MPC. And whatever, man, we were trying, you know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, a few years later, Mark Smalls put us on, and then I really wanted to work at Quad.
really that's what you wanted with the work at Quad. That was
Yeah.
like your goal.
Yeah, 93, because I just saw the J9000 in there. I wanted to use that shit. So Lou
Oh,
Gonzalez.
so you wanted to work there for the equipment, not the people that were going in and out.
Yeah, I didn't know who was going in and out of there. They had a studio ad in this binder in 1993, like showing like Quad Studios in New York. This was before 4 years, 5 years before the Tupac shooting and all that. It wasn't that had nothing to do with it. I wanted to go there just because they had the J9000s. Like when I was even younger than that, I knew Eddie Van Halen was recording through the J, and I realized all of the big records had the SSL sound. So I wanted to go there and get myself like a level playing field when making beats. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to hear what it sounded like if I had some real equipment. And finally, this guy Mark was like, "Yo, I'll put up the money." I didn't know how much he put up, but he ended up putting up $100,000, like straight off the street. He was working as a truck driver for Carousel Cakes, selling the Carousel Cakes up and down the east side of Harlem, all the way down to Midtown. And so he was meeting a lot of people. We were young. He was already in his 30s. He was a good-looking young black man who just had that thing with everybody. Like white people loved him, black people loved him, Spanish girl loved him. He just was suave as fuck. And he was just like, "Yo, bro, I'm gonna fucking manage you kids." And so he took us under the wing. Of course, he's a super Harlem guy, so we had to adjust to the fact that he was moving crazy. And so but he fucking totally did everything. He was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna hook you up with Rob. I'll hook you up with Depp." I ended up becoming really good friends with G Depp and Black Rob, really. And then also Cameron, as whatever. We had Cameron on a record, and I remember this like yesterday. Jewels and Jim Jones were his, I guess at that time, hanging out with him.
His little homies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they weren't exactly who they were now.
Right.
And I could tell it was their first time in the studio. And, I remember I had to give Cameron a brown bag. And I remember thinking,
bro, just so you know, like, my two co-hosts are sitting here like,
jaw drops.
Are we really doing this right now?
Yeah,
This is what we're doing? Like, this is the type of person that Show wants to have on here. And it's no disrespect to you, bro. You are a legend. And I want them to understand, like, me and you go back. Like,
and where we Rockland, of course. Yeah. And, yeah. But yeah, that's all it is. Before you know it, that's really why I was always cool with Jim and Jules, because this what really happened was, I guess after I gave this bag to Cam, he felt like, word up, that's what's up. And so I was like, and he asked me, he's like, "You smoke?" I was like, "Yeah." So he had told Jim and Jules, "Yeah, get some Dutches." And I felt like the way he said it was kind of like, it's kind of sunny. He tried to sunny them, you know what I mean? And I didn't really like it because I felt like, oh, hell no, them niggas look like they ain't no joke. So I was like, I'm going to take the elevator ride with them. So I took the elevator ride with them. I rode out the freight elevator. We went to Smiley's Deli. And I remember feeling like, I made a connection with them on the vibe of like, not to say that we wasn't shit, but like we felt that like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like we're going to be something one day. You know what I mean? And
right.
Yeah, I remember Cameron had the V12 two-door coupe Benz. I remember the
I remember that shit.
CL6.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, I remember that. It was gray.
Yep. I was about to say it was like a charcoal color, but it was like grayish, I guess. Yeah.
He did his verse. He left. That turned into a lot of shit. Obviously, by the time I was mixing the Cameron record, I met, Coach Real. This is actually a true story. This is a funny story. I'll tell it how it is. So by that time, working at Quad, sure, I bumped into a lot of people. You bump into Will Smith, you bump into Mariah.
And I wanna know what year is this?
So this is
because you keep dropping names, you keep bouncing around, and again, I know you because you're my boy. Okay, but so I need the people to understand what year we're talking about. Because you just said Will Smith, nigga. Like, not many people could say we met Will Smith. I can say that. You can say that.
I did. I met Will Smith in the elevator with ES, and ES actually, he was with his security guard. I'm obviously in awe. I'm like, oh shit, Will, real cool. And he gave me a dap. My boy.
What year? What year is this?
So 95. I'm gonna put it like this. This is Jay-Z was in there in the same week. He was with Emil. He had just done the song.
Yeah. So this is probably
Uh,
96, 97, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
because
That's when that.
I think I wasn't there with you, but I was around some other people. So this is like 96, 97.
Maybe even later than that, I believe. Because this is what I'm saying. Like by the time I did this Cameron record, right, I had to mix it, and by the time this was happening, I remember, rest in peace, David Rosner. At this time, the manager was he was telling me he couldn't allow me in the studio, it was booked. So I ended up going to find another studio. I called a guy named Tony Druten, who was the Sony's studio manager, and he said, "Listen, I could hook you up, but it's $7,000, and you got to take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or not, because Michael Jackson's going to take it."
A day,
Oh my
7
God.
stacks a day
No, 7,000 for the
3 days.
for the weekend.
Yes,
For
he
the
was
weekend. Okay.
Sunday at basically like 1,000. It was like
So-
those first 2 days were 3,000 and 1,000. So
Right.
up until that time, I was used to the way Quad was doing shit, and I wasn't used to the Sony experience. So I basically arrived, paid the bill.
Can you admit that Sony raped a couple people on their studio time sometimes?
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you. Hands
All
down,
right. Go
I
ahead.
tell you, it was the most phenomenal recording studio facility I've ever seen.
I love Sony Studios, but they
But check
kind
it out.
of.
You gotta
Go
understand
ahead.
what their Studio A was what I booked. It was supposedly going for Michael Jackson. When I got there, they figured out that they realized some other guy was taking it. It's not Mike, and so we walked in. We basically had all of Mike's client services left over. All of his
Yeah,
fruits,
the rider things.
the ride, all of his fruits, all of his drinks, and a lot of it was going to be perishable. So they just let us have it.
Nice.
So I was coming there. I remember I came there with my man Brass, my man Rogue, Coach Real, CX.
I don't know
ES,
any of these people, just so you know.
and these are all artists or whatever. And so they accompanied me. I had my homegirl Hannah was there, and my boy Coach, was selling nickel bags. And so he had made a joke like, "Damn, nigga, you up in here, like, you know what I'm saying? I should be getting 20 for these bags." And I'm looking at him like, "Damn." So I'm thinking to myself, like, I just heard that there's 50 studios inside the building. And I'm mixing the song with camera. I'm thinking, let me get lost in the hallway and start peeking into some of these rooms. Who the fuck is up in this motherfucker? So I remember I walk into the first room and there's this girl there. She's singing, and her name is Fiona Apple. And so she's fucking singing there. And I'm like, oh shit, Fiona, cool as fuck. So what's up? Around the corner is Cool G Rap. He's fucking working. You could tell you didn't want to go into that room.
Oh my
And
God.
so
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, he's popping up in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I saw that Montel Williams was down the hall and he was doing the Montel Williams show. So I'm like, yo, this place is popping. I'm like, yo, upstairs is nasty, downstairs is the basement. And then I'm looking around, I'm like, better get to my room because this shit costs money. So I get back to mixing. And
And then what happens?
some kid walks in the room. Black guy, holes in the shirt, sweatpants, socks. Okay? Maybe sandals, but definitely the socks. I remember thinking, this nigga is home.
All right. And who was it? Who was it? Tell
Check
him.
it out. I don't know. You feel me? I don't know. The nigga comes in, he's like, yo, y'all got some weed. I'm like, hell yeah, my nigga got 500 nickel bags. Like I'm talking about, like, unbelievable. He looks over, he's like, yeah, that nigga probably works for the studio. Fuck that nigga, $20 a bag. I'm like, nah, don't do that. What the fuck? This nigga works here, nigga. You bugging. Like, you bugging. We need this nigga, man. Come on, chill. I'm talking to him just like that in front of this nigga. So the nigga's looking at me like, man, fuck that nigga, man. Don't worry about it, yo. So he's basically on his way out, and the door's closing slow and shit. So I'm like, I look, and they're all watching TV, and I'm thinking, man, in the split second, I'm thinking to myself, man, fuck these niggas. I'm over here paying $7,000. These niggas is watching the NFL, NBA game, or whatever. So I said, oh, look at this. And And Coach went like this, and I just snatched a handful of nickel bags out and put it into my pocket on some magical shit. And I said, damn, that nigga just scored crazy. Yo, I'll be right back. So then I walked out, I sat down, I walked out the hallway, and I pulled up to the kid. I said, yo, here. And I gave him 2 nickel bags.
Redman.
Nah,
Who was the dude?
check it out. So he's like,
ODB.
God, I swear this is how it went down. So
Nah, go ahead, bro.
I give him the 2 nickel bags. He's like, oh, you didn't have to do that, man. And I was like, nah, I had to, man. So what's up, bro? You like work for the studio? You know what I'm saying? I'm not like that. I was like, I'm not like him. I just wanted to get it clear with you. I just wanted you to know. So he's like, nah, he's like, yeah, I'm work. You know what I mean? I'm working you. So I was like, what you do? You know what I'm saying? He's like, I rap. I was like, oh, word? I was like, what's your name? He's like, my name's Beanie Siegel. I'm like,
Oh shit.
like,
Beans?
I was like, oh shit, you supply it now. I said, so what you doing right here? He said, oh yeah, you fuck with that thug shit. I was like, I'm not, I'm not a thug, but I love the P, the H, the I, the L, the Y, P, P, A, P. It's Philly. He had some song out at the time, and I recognized that it was him that was on the song. I was like, oh my God, I heard your song. It was like some song about Philadelphia. And he was like, all right. He started laughing with me. He was like, so I was like, so what are you doing? He's like, man, I'm rapping with Jay. So I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, Jay-Z. I'm like, shut the fuck up, nigga. Stop lying, nigga. So I had just met Jay-Z, ironically, a couple weeks back in the studio at Quad when he was with a mill. Just what up, what up. I saw him one time when I was in Quad. I looked down. I said, yo, Jay. And he was there with a mill going into Right Track. So now I'm with Beanie.
That was when they were on 40. Was it 40? 40.
48 was Right Track.
48. Yep.
46 was Unique. Yeah, Unique.
Yeah. 40 something.
Was that they recorded Can I Get Her?
Nah, I don't know if they were recording that. But.
Yeah, so that's where they did those records, around there. So
yeah, but I know it was 40 something Street. I was there too.
Yeah, so now we're at this studio on 54th Street, Sony, and by this time, Jay-Z is pretty much a celebrity.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I get into the studio, and I'm there with Beanie, and there's a console. And ironically, it was set up just like the studio I got now. So I walked in. There's a console. There's nobody there. And it's Bean. And so we roll up weed. And I noticed Jay-Z was in the booth, I guess, waiting for somebody to record something. Okay? So
Look at God's timing.
This is at the time you got to understand, in terms of studio equipment, technology was emerging.
Yep.
So we were moving from 2-inch tape over to these new Pro Tools systems. And guys like me were just getting acquainted with the new Pro Tools format at that time.
Right.
And right in front of me was a Neve console with Pro Tools interface, right? So, I guess there's a beat there and there's a vocal track ready, Yep. And I got to hit a 3 button, right? So,
what a 3 button?
Yeah, the record button.
No, I remember. Go ahead.
So I start rolling, and Jay's like, "Oh, what's up?" So I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Jay? What's up?" So I'm thinking, "Fucking cool, man. We're chilling." You know what I'm saying? Now I'm feeling like Jay is cool. You know what I'm saying? He's cool. That's what I was thinking. And Beanie's over there. So I walk in the booth with Jay, and I sit down on the floor Indian style like this, and I light it up, man. He's like, nah, Chris, you got to get that shit the fuck up out of here. I was like, oh, hell no. I'm pissed up the boss.
You know the way Jay gives it up.
Yeah, Jay definitely was not smoking weed.
Nah, he don't like smoke around his sessions. He don't like smoke around his office. He don't like none of that.
At this time, that was the vibe. And I came from Rockland County. I just started smoking weed. In New York City, the way we grew up, you don't do no drugs. We trying to get money. We trying to get out the hood. But
nice.
I'm around with this new Rockland County crowd, and I remember my man Jekyll was upstairs. Jekyll, Juanito Alimanes from Haverstraw. So all of these guys, they're upstairs still in the studio. I'm downstairs now with Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel, and Beanie's like, "Yo, finally hitting the thing." So I hit the button, and then he's Matt come through on that club shit, you know, and he's doing this song, and then Jay-Z comes in and he's like, you know, every time you see me, he says, six,
Say.
we gonna get in the club, 4 a.m. we gonna tear shit up. Yeah, I'm at Waffle House, and the motherfucker did the whole shit live, no paper, nothing. He like did it out of his mind. He was sitting there. He had heard the beat in his brain. He got tired of hearing it, and he was just like, "That's it. I'm fucking ready. First take, done. Right?
Gone.
Now, I come. Now this other brother comes in. A black guy comes in, and he's just like, yeah, brother, yeah, you know, I got this. So then he pretty much takes over, and then this other white guy comes in, and he's like, yeah, I'm the engineer, Peter Wade. I remember this. So I was like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, this was crazy. Like, I just basically, you know, hit record, did this. Now I'm feeling like, oh shit. Now Jay-Z left. I'm there with Beans, finishing the blunt. I could feel the vibe was, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I also got my session going back upstairs. I come back upstairs. I'm like, my boys are looking at me. They're like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, yo, that nigga who just came in the room asking for the Nickelbacks, that was Beanie Siegel. He was downstairs with Jay-Z. They're like, yeah, fucking right. All these niggas come outside. They follow me down the
staircase.
And there was a thing in Sony Studios that was the most amazing part of Sony Studios. There was a makeshift, a make-believe van. It was actually like the team van.
I don't remember that.
Listen, downstairs in the basement of Sony Studios on 54th Street, there was like the A-team van, like the kind of van you have a side door,
Yeah, right.
front door, and they put it up on the corner. And inside the van, they had the Sony speakers with the fucking Sony stereo that was boom banging.
So you could just listen to your shit.
Yeah, exactly. So you could give it the car test. It's a car play room. They even had a PlayStation in there at the time. So
that's wild as fuck.
Oh, with the LED lights, it's not going nowhere, but it had the fake steering wheel that just spun forever. So I go to see the studio, but everybody's gone. These niggas is looking at me like, yeah, right.
This
nigga.
motherfucker.
You know, you full of shit ass nigga. So they're like, fuck Chris's story. This van is cool. Let's go and roll up in this van. So they start rolling up in this van and shit. Little did we know, Jay-Z had just gone upstairs to get the songs mastered. And he wanted to come right back downstairs and do the same thing we was doing, listening to music in the van. So he comes up, I'm driving the van, and sure you know, Brass is sitting shotgun, Jekyll is in the back robe, and I think maybe CX. And the nigga Jay just looks into the Astro vent window like, what's up, niggas? You want to
Who's in there?
So
Who's in there? Jay was famous for looking in vans like, who's in here? Because you shouldn't be around my shit.
No, but swear to God, he's like, yo, do you mind if we listen to my album? And we're looking at each other like, yeah, right, nigga. So he opens the door, Brass gets in the back. So now there's 4 motherfuckers in the back, and I'm driving. Jay-Z's riding shotgun. He closes the van. He looks at me. He's like, you ready? I'm like, oh, nigga, come on. And he puts in the fucking CD, and it's the whole shit. I'm back looking like me, Jay-Z. I'm back, volume 3. That's what it was. So I was just like, oh, shit. Like, and I remember he's like, every time you see me, 100 G's in your grill. And I remember he had that thing on. He had a black shirt on. I remember looking at him. I was like, yeah, he's telling all the truth. This is the truth. Like, he's not lying. This guy is crazy. So he turned around. He's like, yo, what do you think about that song? Can I get a what? Oh, my niggas, you trouble. And Jekyll is like, yo, nigga, we be bumping that shit in the Coke spot and have a straw, nigga. We bump Jay all day. And Jay looked at me. He was like, yo, your friends, bro. Let me tell you something. Stay away from this shit.
Yep.
So
I said stay away from that shit.
Jay never ever. Let me tell you something. And Chris, you can co-sign what I'm about to say or not. Jay has never been a drug user co-signer. He never wanted people around him to be drug users.
Yeah, he looked at me and gave me a look like, you know, your friends are crazy kind of look. And then he
Correct.
to me, he was like, you know, Chris, this is entertainment. I was like, no, I hear you. So then he went back, played some more songs. And then afterwards, while this is happening, there's a crowd of people, of Sony executives that are also getting a first listen to Jay's album on the thing. So he could see there's a crowd. He opens up the van and lets the music come out into the hallway. All the sessions stop. And I remember this kid comes up with a rhinestone jacket and he introduces himself. It's fucking Pharrell. He's like, yo, what's up? And Jay looks over at me like, what you think? I was
The way RJ is looking at you right now, I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man?
it was just a crazy ass vibe. But then everybody dispersed, and then he went somewhere. Now, CX, Brass, Rogue, Jekyll, they're looking at me like, yo, this nigga is here. Like, it's for real. This shit just happened. So we went back to our session, and then I walk outside, and Jay-Z's standing there alone with his Bentley. So I'm like, oh, shit, this nigga Jay-Z got the Bentley on 54th Street. And I was like, yo, Jay,
Is that by the Hala guys right there? Off of
9th Avenue at 54th Street. So
yeah, that's right off of shit. What the fuck is that? Radio Music, right? Like
no.
a block or two away.
From now today, it's a liquor store that's there.
Oh, all right, my bad.
It was a deli and the studio across the street. So he looks at me, and he could see that I was impressed by the vehicle. And he looked at me and was like, what, that old thing? Fuck it, man. You want something from the store? And I was like, hell yeah. What you doing? So we walked across the street. I went in. I got a Tropicana. I asked him for a Dutch. He paid for it with $100, told the niggas to keep the change. I said, damn, I should have got like another juice or something. But like, you know what I mean? I was thinking, damn, that nigga made more than me off the transaction. And then two kids rolled up on a bike. I'll never forget this shit. And this is how it was. It was Friday night. I'll never forget it because the kids down the bike, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. And Jay said, fuck y'all doing this? What the fuck y'all doing out here so late? Ain't y'all got school? And Jay said, and then the kid said, fuck you mean, Jay? It's Friday night. There ain't no school tomorrow. What's wrong with you? So the Jay looked at him and said, all right, here, $100 for each of y'all. And both of those kids, they were about 10 or 11 years old, just got $100 from Jay-Z, and they were like, "Oh my God, Jay-Z!" You could tell that they were gonna go back and tell their parents, who probably never believed them. You know what I mean? That those kids get, they'll fucking, they're probably telling the story. I eventually want to see those kids one day, because I imagine what happened to them. But yeah, man, we ended up going across the street. I ended up telling Jay peace. He ended up pulling in the Bentley, and he came back around the corner with the fucking 911, not the GT joint. I'm talking about the $1 million Porsche joint. You know what I'm talking about? Like the real GT, the super long body Porsche GT. He had that car, and then he rolled up 9th Avenue and gave me that was the last time I saw him in that day. And then I saw him one more time.
You've seen him a couple times since then.
Yeah, so then, but right after that, I don't know if you know the story about Winston John.
No, I don't know.
I probably should leave that out. There's no reason to talk about it, but there is a legend in Rockland County, this man named Winston John. He was working on a film with Columbia Records, put me in touch with a lot of people. I'm working on this film with 50, Ali Vegas. And
if you tell the story, you want me to leave it out? We'll leave it out.
No. It's not like that. Well, I mean, I could just tell you it's like this. I mean, you could type in Winston John 2004 fleet of cars drug bust, and then that's all I gotta say. But the guy definitely had about $50-60 million at the time. It's so many things, bro. It's funny because so right after I saw Jay, remember I had that record with Black Rob, all that shit had to come out.
Hold on, what's the song you had with Black Rob? I need you to tell the story.
So I had one song with him. It was called Red Hot. And I had another song. I ended up doing songs with him later. I actually still have unreleased Black Rob material.
I know, but what is the song with Black Rob?
I had a song with him called Red Hot with Rainey Davis. Rainey Davis was the girl who sung Sweetheart that Mariah Carey and Jermaine Dupri redid. She did this song with Rob. I ended up playing the shit in the meeting for 50. 50 wanted me to pull Black Rock off the song, and he wanted to take the track. The track was done, money was spent on it. He basically got into it with my boys from Rockland and tried to diss them. Um,
Sorry,
uh,
50.
no,
Sorry, 50.
yeah, no, but basically he was just basically telling me, Chris, like, you know, man, you fucking with the wrong rappers, fuck them Rockland niggas, like you should fuck with me. We're gonna go platinum, fuck these niggas. So
Was he right or wrong though? Because Rockland niggas, and you know, I'm a Rockland nigga all day.
he was
I'm from the Bronx, but
no. 50 was clearly correct, 100%. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying in any
but go ahead.
my
Go
boy.
ahead.
I'm just saying that my boys didn't understand the movement in Southside or
Yeah. Go ahead.
from, and I understood that energy, and it is history is what it is. You know what I mean? But I'm saying all that to say I was moving around in a lot of studios, and I would end up. Yeah, man. I would, you know, because I'd have to mix those projects. So I'd end up in so many events and situations, all little things along the way. And so you bump into people. You bump into people that are growing and emerging. And eventually, after time, people just recognize your face as one of them. So, like, my first deal after that, you know, basically having nothing, I had a falling out with CXES label, nothing on the street. Some guys at a record label in New Jersey hit me up. They're like, yo, come fucking work for this KRS guy. Met him.
So once again, Max, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're super humble, and you know, we can keep going as far as you're concerned. And your accolades keep just going out. You know, like you're credited for Benny the Butcher. You're credited for Conway. You're
Yeah,
credited for
those guys.
Foxy Brown. You're credited for Fred the Godson. Like
38
you are so humble. Like how do we?
38 special.
How?
Shouts out to Fred the Godson and
Like,
to all of Griselda.
bro, do you understand?
Because of 38 special, you know, 38 special really was the link for all of that.
I understand that, but how? How do you understand that? Like, I know you personally. I can hit you up. We can have a conversation, whatever.
Yeah.
Other people here don't understand how they can talk to you, and you get what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're great, and you're great behind the scenes, and that's what I need you to understand, because you never understood this. You're great behind the scenes, and you are great because you are great at what the fuck you do.
I mean, I have a role, and that's what it is. I mean, you know, that's all it is.
I can understand
Do
that.
you realize? All right, cool. I'm not gonna disrespect you because I would never do that.
No,
I'm not gonna disrespect my co-hosts. But do you realize that my co-hosts are sitting here like we ain't gotta say shit. This motherfucker is just going off the mouth on everything because I want to talk to Benny, and I you know I've been in touch with Benny, and I've told Benny, hey, can you be on this?
Really cool.
And other people and my co-hosts are like, yeah, you know, if you could do it. But and I'm not saying my co-hosts don't believe me, but they do not understand the people that I know in this industry, which is people like you, that we can do this for days on days on days on end.
Yeah, sure, I guess so. Yeah, yeah.
Now, Cinemax, let me ask you something. It's totally off topic,
Okay.
and I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. How accessible are you as far as, let's say I'm in your area, I need a studio to record, looking for somebody to work with.
Bro, he will be there.
Yeah, man, because it's how I feed myself, and
He doesn't and my bad, Max, for answering it for you, but the way you have your boys, Jay,
Yeah,
the way you have your boys, like, you know, you can hit them up for studio time.
yeah.
If you're ever in New York, if you ever in the 845, you're ever in Rockland County, and you ever need like you're just vacationing with your, you know, new daughter and your girl
Yeah,
and your
sure.
family, and you wanted to record a record, you can reach out to Max.
That's good to
Max
know
is
because
not Hollywood. Max don't
That
play
part.
that shit.
But it's funny,
Max is so humble
but
that,
bro, you
and
have-
this is the reason why I love him, because he's so humble and so like,
this way, if you're really trying to be great, you can only learn by people that you think are greater than you, right?
Yes.
So you have
Yes.
to adopt their mentality. And so along the way, you know, a lot of people, like, this is the truth. So some people that are emergent ain't got time to be nice because they're going through this hard shit. So they ain't really that cool. And some of them might or might not make it or whatever. The people that's really cool is confident in themselves. So they'll tell you what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, over the years, you know, some people would say, "Oh man, these people is using you, this, that, third." And what ended up happening is I ended up becoming useful for pivotal people that people ended up trusting. And so they were like, "Well, fuck it. Like if KRS-One trusting to do an album, like you know what I mean? Like Redman is sure as hell give him a shot. So Redman will give me a shot." And before you know it, that opened up a lot of doors. Like Redman was really the one I think who opened up the most doors for me in terms of like hip hop.
shout out Ungo Reggie.
Yeah, because he was the one that was like, "Look, Chris, I'll build a studio with you. I'm tired of this shit." You know, he's making he started really financing his
His craft.
vision
I'm a huge fan of Redman.
Yeah.
by the sixth
What?
album. You know, I mean, he learned a lot from Jay-Z. By the
Yo,
time-
Max,
Just watch
do you
how
think-
high.
Max, do you think we can get Red on this show?
He was just in
Take his
Rockford
brain.
today. He just called me about a half hour ago. So I'm supposed
Yeah,
to-
between because I don't have the relationship. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like
Yeah,
I don't know Red like that. But between you and LD, you think you might be able to make this work for me?
yeah,
Not for us, for me.
yeah,
for us too.
sure. Yeah, it'll make our show cooler too if he comes out and does an episode.
Yeah.
You know?
But let's again let's say the accolades. Does anybody realize Jermaine Paul, America's what was he on? American Idol.
That's it.
Do you guys know who Jermaine Paul is
Mhm.
from American Idol?
Yes.
From The Voice.
Yeah.
The Voice.
Was it
The Voice. My bad. The Voice. He's from Rockland County. He's from where the fuck we are.
So it's a long story with Jermaine. People don't know this, but so going back to when I was 14, 15, when I met CX and Adam, I had also met Charles and Jermaine Paul. They were from Spring Valley, R&B singers. Really hard environment making music. Adam, Nick, myself, making a variety of music. Hip hop was obviously a lot more gangster and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can remember we don't do the R&B shit. So there was always that kind of
Yes.
energy of me doing R&B music and rap, weird vibes in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say that Charles and Jermaine fought through all of that, and in 1996 they got a record deal. So their first record deal was with Shaquille O'Neal,
Yep.
who ironically had a subdivision label deal with Jive Records.
Yep.
With a label, his label was called Twism. And they had producers like Rodney Jerkins and
I met him on many occasions.
Monica and all that. And so I was exposed at an early time to real deal, major league R&B, and what it took to be a great singer. A lot of people
Yeah.
didn't believe in Jermaine early on.
Jermaine was the truth, bro.
Yeah, you
But a
know,
lot of people didn't believe. You're right.
I just felt like he was just smoking since day one. His brother was the most amazing singer-songwriter. The two of them together were just, and still are, unbelievable, amazing fucking recording artists. But yeah, I remember Alicia Keys was singing background to Jermaine. She was a 13-year-old with
Don't
bass.
talk about my baby moms like that, bro.
I remember her before she was even a princess with Jeff in the Bronx.
Correct. Yo,
Yeah.
me and you know a lot of people, bro.
She came a long way, and needless to say, she offered Jermaine the opportunity when she stepped in the light. So they naturally toured for almost 10 years. I want to say over 10 years, and
It was
yeah, and then
10, 12 years.
Alicia got pregnant with Swiss, and then and then Jermaine.
They bought our house in Rockland County, and then God.
I found out crazy news that I don't know if you guys know about Rockland. It's pretty impressive. I was hanging out with my guy E-Man Boogie, who's like a major promoter in hip hop in Rockland. He brought Biggie, he brought Little Kim, he brought Raekwon, he brought Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep to Spring Valley doing shows. He would have
Notice I'm not on that list. I'm just saying. But go ahead.
Well, no,
I'm fucking with you, Chris. Relax. Go ahead.
so anyway, you know, E-Man basically does a 20-year bid for some shit, ends up coming back in into contact with me, and so I'm riding around with him, and you know, he's totally a man of God, and he's doing a lot of
Amen.
you know, promotion. He's turned his life around in prison, and you know, he started telling me, you know, when Biggie was coming up here, he would hang with Biggie and he would hang with Faith.
And
You
the problem that people don't understand is.
Well, check this out. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Before you.
I was just making this point. He's like, a lot of people don't know it, but Biggie Smalls legally married Faith Evans in the Clarkstown Hall in New City.
I was just about to say this. It's just in our own hood, where me, LDJ, and Smacks is like we're from, but we're not from. You know, whatever.
Of course,
this is where they got married.
So it's so crazy. Right down the street, this is the crazy part. So while all this is going on, I'm from Queens, right? I'm up here in Rockland. Of course, the legendary DJ Marley Marl is swerving around with his V12 BMW.
See, you keep dropping names.
Well, no, I'm saying.
And shout out to Guru that lives in Rockland before he died too. But go ahead.
Marley Marl is my man. So he works at WBLS. We're doing something right now in Nyack for July 4th. He's hosting 107.5 from Nyack Park on July 4th. And but I'm saying it to say people didn't know this, and I never knew this because I became good friends with Marley. But Marley Marl used to broadcast the show that he used to do, Future Flavors, with Pete Rock directly from his house in Chestnut Ridge. So
I didn't know that.
A lot of Hot 97 was always being broadcast from Rockland County, and Pete Rock lives in Spring Valley. So it was a short drive for them, 10 minutes apart, to just do this show. And then Marley Marl tells me about all those things. He's like, yeah, ODB, LL, all of them. And I was like, what do you mean? ODB was over here. So yeah, he told me ODB ran over his mailbox. It was just funny.
So now you
like
brought
some
up another
ODB
name.
shit.
Now you brought up another name that, sorry, Tone, I'm just gonna keep going. You said keep going.
Go.
But now you brought up another name, another legend that everybody should know if you do your hip hop research.
Well,
Pete
yeah,
Rock. Hold on. Pete Rock.
Hmm?
How did you meet Pete Rock? And if you don't know who Pete Rock is, I'm gonna let Max tell you who Pete Rock is. Give Pete Rock's early and then how you met him.
So Pete Rock. All right. So the first time I laid my eyes on Pete Rock, my dad took me to a movie theater, right? First and last time my dad took me to a movie theater, I was about 13. It was to see the movie Juice. Pete Rock was in the movie. Pete Rock's poster was in that film with Queen Latifah and all that. And Pete Rock had a pretty crazy album out with CL Smooth.
Just a little album.
Yeah, the Medium. He was basically the king of the MPC 3000. The king of hip hop beats and DJing and all of that, effectively, right before DJ Premier, I want to say, took reign. So Pete Rock, Mount Vernon, basically, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but you know, Pete Rock being from Mount Vernon and Puffy being from Mount Vernon, that led to
Puff is from Mount Vernon? I thought he was from Harlem. I'm playing asshole right now. Don't know.
Yeah, they're both from Mount Vernon. They both had different mentalities towards things. But I learned a lot from Pete. I learned a lot from Puffy too. You know.
How did you meet Pete Rock? And what is your correlation with your relationship with Pete?
I ended up really connecting with Pete Rock because of Redman. Like Redman basically brought me.
See, now you're gonna bring another question. How did you meet Redman?
I met Redman because I remember this like yesterday. I was fucked up.
Go ahead. Tell it.
Yeah, I was out of money. My stepdad was moving. He had his law firm on 49th Street, and they were moving to 34th Street, or vice versa. I can't remember. And he had told me, he's like, "Yeah, you need a job, motherfucker. I'll give you $50 to move these boxes." So I'm like, "All right, man." So I went to go move some boxes, and I saw this 645 or 650 M650 BMW or whatever, and I had a beef with this guy Winston.
Who's Winston?
Like, so I know it sounds crazy.
You don't got to give him I'm just trying to put out the narrative.
You gotta understand, I'm so in tune with the streets at this time. I think that if I see a car,
You don't gotta listen.
I'm
Max,
saying
you don't gotta give them I'm just saying I wanna bridge the gap on what you're talking about.
I'm trying to paint the picture for you so you understand. I'm in Times Square every day. I live in Quad Studios. You hear me? So like I'm spending $60,000 a month to stay in the studio. I'm there on nights. I'm there on nights where I know on Tuesday.
Y'all niggas don't spend $60,000 on your rent right now. Just let y'all know. But go ahead. My bad.
So at this time, we're definitely you catch vibes. You know when Times Square is gonna be full. When you're coming downstairs, on a night where you could just chill. So on a Tuesday night, you could chill.
Yeah.
And so on Tuesday nights, you see the cars that's going to the studios. Why comes up 6th Street, Unique's over there. You could see who's who. You could see if there's some cars you don't know. I remember, I was going to tell you, I remember when I was working with this kid named Menace. And he had I don't remember, he had a rap beef or something.
Yep. Go ahead. Tell the whole story, please.
Yeah, he was working with a guy named Jay Bird. And Jay Bird and we ended up clicking. He was cool. He was coming off of Rikers and he was doing something. Right? And these kids were looped in with some serious people. And one night, he brings me, he's like, "Yo, there's this new studio opening on 22nd Street. Like, fuck all these nothing. These niggas is gonna hold us down." So I walk into a room on 22nd Street, I believe, or 26th, 22nd. It was in the 20s. And this
24th Street, if I'm not mistaken. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So the guy tells me, "Yeah, listen, man, I need an engineer. I hear you're good." So at this time, I had done the songs with Cam. I had done the songs with everybody. People knew who I kind of was. And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to work here." The guy had brand new SSL consoles with the sheet on it. And the guy's name was Juan. So Juan was like telling me, he's like, "Yeah, yo, I'd love to work for you. I'll meet. We're trying to get financing to get it. We got our friend right here who's in the NBA." So I'm like, "Oh shit, I want to meet the NBA player." And I met this NBA player playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and apparently he was going to help finance this rapper studio that this guy Juan was involved in. And
who was the player?
Malik Silly. And the rapper was Jay-Z, and the guy Juan was Juan Perez, who basically they were opening Rockefeller Records and the Baseline recording studio. So I'm in the Baseline as they're unveiling shit. It's just me, Juan, and Malik Silly. Malik Silly goes downstairs. I say, "Peace." Friday night, he drives away. Saturday night, he's in Minnesota before a game, speeding with his Range Rover and crashes into a fucking pillar and dies.
Jesus. Rest in peace.
I never saw Juan for a long time. I ended up telling this story to Redman, who's like, "Fuck out of here, nigga. You don't know Jay." By this time, Redman was trying to explain to me he had been on Def Jam for a while. Nigga Jay-Z just came in and took over the lid. So
you know how Jay do.
So he's basically trying to tell me, like, you don't know the nigga. Anyways, Jay-Z's like, I guess, headlining some festival called Rock the Bells with the Guerrilla Union guys.
Some festival.
Some festival called Rock the Bells.
Yeah, and Redman's like, "Chris, you gotta come here." He's like, "You gotta come and you basically gotta come in, and I'm gonna see like if Jay-Z recognizes you." And I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, nigga, it's on. I'm gonna hook you up, Red. Promise."
But you know the way Reggie is, bro. That nigga wants to call everybody on his shit. You know the way Reggie is, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that he didn't believe me or not, but I think he just wanted to see what the reaction was. And I remember James Ellis was there, who executive produced How High, and that's like he was managing Redman, Method Man, Eric Sermon, Keith Murray, EPMD, whatever,
Mhm.
the whole thing. Anyway, so I'm picking it. I'm trying to obviously be cool as fuck with James, and James, is in tune with everything that's going on with this event, and he's like, yo, your boy's coming around the corner now. Let me see what's up. Let me see what. And sure, there it is. There's Beyonce. But what they didn't know is I knew Beyonce too because I had met her before. So I walked right up to Beyonce and I see fucking the Marine security guard. His name is Norman. And you could tell Norman was about to intervene, but Beyonce gave him the like, no, I'm giving him a hug and a kiss. That this is Chris. How are you? Oh my God. So I'm sitting there by this point now. James Ellis is looking at me like, oh, you a wild nigga, because here comes Jay. And Jay's like, oh shit, what's up, Chris? Says what's up to me, you know what I mean? Like, what's up? Like, what you doing? I'm like, yo, I'm hanging with Red. He's like, oh, that's good. That's good. You're working with Red, man, And I was like, what you doing? He's like, I'm going in the dressing room. He's like, how's it out there? I was like, it's crazy, nigga, And sure, like he goes into the dressing room with Beyonce, and Red comes and tells me, he's like, yeah, niggas don't really walk up to Jay. I was like, nah, he's cool, man. The nigga's cool as fuck. He really is. I swear to God. So, I walk upstairs and I see MOP, Busta Rhymes. They're all chilling on the top. And then I look down the staircase, and I see Nas, my hero.
Nasty Nas.
And he can't walk up to Jay like that.
My hero.
He can't.
And then he fucking is like, yo, you got a light? And I'm thinking, yeah, here. And then he lights up a Newport. I was like, oh, my hero. What are you doing to Queensbridge? The bodega got you, nigga. And then he went upstairs, and then Jay came out like, yo, what's up? Like, is it too crowded up there? And I said, yeah, come on, man. I'll make room. Everybody will make room for Hov and Beyonce. Then,
of course.
So I walked up, and he saw that there was mad people up there. He was like, nah. I was like, all right, I guess not. And then Redman and Method Man come out. So I'm out there basically with him. I don't remember who was DJing.
Was this the Hard Knock Live tour?
No,
I was on that tour. I was on the Hard Knock Live tour.
He ended up doing Black Republicans with Nas.
All right. So that's way years later.
Yeah, that was years. That's after 07.
Yeah, that's super years later.
Yeah, and then I think that might have been the last time I saw him. Rock the Bells. And ironically, he just bought my friend's house in Malibu for $200 million. That's no bullshit.
I saw that purchase.
Just so you know, he bought his friend's house.
Yeah,
something little, like $200 million. Nothing like
His transactions going down right now. Like
I saw it on TMZ.
I wasn't gonna say.
So yeah, just to give you an idea, it's pretty crazy. So my boy Billa is a kid I rap, I work with. He's like king of the Upper East Side. Yeah, he's just incredibly connected. One day he brings this kid over the house, and we're smoking weed right here.
A regular kid, right?
He is a regular kid. He's cool as fuck.
The lies. This nigga is not regular. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you tell you that story.
Nah, he's just like, yo, what I'm saying? My family owns daytime television and shit. So I'm like, get the fuck out of here, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's true, he owns all that shit. Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, his family, the dad or something, some shit. I don't know. So, I'm kicking with him. We're chilling and shit. And then, months, weeks go by. And then my boy tells me, he's like, yeah, man, if you ever need, some guidance or some kind of you should talk to the mom, because she can help you because the mom owns the restaurant. So I'm like, what do you mean she owns the restaurant? He's like, Taco Bell. I'm like, the fuck out of here, nigga. He's like, you ain't never seen the house, nigga? I'm like, no, I ain't never seen the house, nigga. And so there's a house, and apparently you can see it from space. It's the biggest house in Los Angeles County. And so
from space.
So I'm like, oh my god. So I hit my man up. I'm like, yo, well, you ain't never tell me you live in Batman's house. Nigga, what the fuck you doing? You know what? He's like, yeah. He's like, yo, you can always come by. You can always drive the cheap cars. I got you. Any bad, any fucking.
But real
you
talk.
can't drive no expensive cars. That's what he told me.
But real talk. But real talk. Swiss and Alicia live in the fucking Iron Man house too, nigga. Like you know that they.
Oh, I don't know.
No, what you mean? They live in the Iron Man house.
Where? I don't know where they live. I don't know.
In California.
Oh, I believe it, but I know
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
where my point is. I know exactly what part of Malibu this is at.
But
This is that real spot.
Yeah, I
Yo.
saw that post on TMZ, and I'm like, yo, that's not a house, bro. That's like a
Ironically,
compound.
I don't know if people don't know this, but right underneath that house is basically Kim and Kanye's house. So I guess Jay-Z and Beyonce now have the top of the mountain.
Wow.
The mountain.
I didn't know that.
He
Yeah,
just
they
he
make
just
it
had the
cool.
big bro Kanye West like
Yep.
one
Well,
more
of
time.
course.
It's like, yeah, you live on this hill, I'm gonna live on the top of the hill.
Nice.
So Max, I got another question for you. We going down all your accolades, and we're gonna, kind of cut this short, and we're gonna do a part two of this.
Go ahead.
But we're gonna do a part two of this. Like LD left us out on, huh?
Can I go get a Dutch? Or are we done? Or what you trying to say? We're done?
Go-
No.
Go get a Dutch. Go
We're
get a
not
Dutch.
done, but we're gonna I'm gonna leave this on a cliffhanger so that way we can do a part two of this, right?
Wait.
The same way- the
Before
same
you
way-
close it out though, I did want to ask a question before you. Are you
No,
closing it
I'm
out? Is that what you're doing?
No. I wasn't closing it out, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, I
What
was
you
just
got?
gonna ask that because I'm curious. I've heard a lot of you. I've been sitting here like starstruck, low key, for this whole interview. I couldn't even call it an interview. It's more like just me listening to an OG of the game.
It's two niggas talking, right?
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and get to the question. My question is, and feel free to take some time with it, or dodge the question if you want. But do you have a favorite project or a favorite moment out of your whole career? One time or one situation that sticks out to you?
You gonna make this motherfucker go get a whole blunt,
No,
roll it up, and then spark it?
very easily, man. I think the closest project to my heart as of late was really the Orange Juice Jones project that I did with Orange Juice Jones.
Wow, really?
Called the Slave Project. So I think if you're gonna hear something like I think like when it comes on, that's basically where I'm at. And yeah, that shit still like I kind of like was like I still demo that for people that never heard my shit, and that's kind of like how I feel. And Juice basically raps the way I could if I could dream of rapping that way. And he's quite honestly probably, and I'm just being real, just because I haven't heard so many people.
Nah, bro, you hit a nerve with me because I didn't think you would say that, but
he's
the fact that you said that,
he's one of the greatest artists I think I've recorded in my life in terms of hip hop art.
And what's the name of the project one more time?
it's
Jones I. It's called the Slave Album.
yeah,
The Slave Album.
Orange Juice Jones I.
Okay,
The kid is just
phenomenal.
he's perfectly human.
It's Jay. It's one of those projects that you can listen to,
Yeah,
and then you gotta come back and listen to it again, and then you gotta come back and listen to it again because you're not gonna understand what he says, and you're not gonna comprehend everything.
Bro. You got a brain, you can hear that shit the first
No,
time.
you can, but you're not gonna understand.
No, you
Right or
gotta
wrong?
understand it. You're gonna understand it. I guarantee you. I promise you. You might not get the where it's coming from, but you're gonna understand it off top because he's speaking English. I'm just telling you like this, just so you have an understanding of what Juice is.
Bad Bunny says he speaks English too. I don't.
Yeah, no, listen, he's born in Atlanta, right? His father's Orange Juice Jones, right? So his father helped build Def Jam with Russell Simmons. He's basically he's like uncle to Redman, okay? With LL and all of them. Since '86, the first #1 hit at Def Jam on the R&B charts was with Orange Juice Jones. So I'm saying that to say people don't know this. I didn't know this. I met Juice. I'm hanging out with him, and I realized his dad is Juice. Okay, senior, junior, and you know, he tells me one day, he's like, a lot of people don't know, but they made the movie Juice about my father. It was like a way that Russell could give back the movie Juice. Ironically, it's the only movie that my father ever took me to go see. So I saw the movie in the theater. I would know later on in life I would become friends with the father and the son.
Wow.
And come to find out, Juice grew up in a house where he had Tupac in the living room, fucking telling him he'd be the greatest rapper in his life. So since he was
Sleeping on the couch.
old, he's always had it. It's like Jay, guys like Curtis Blow, uh, Positive K, those kind of guys are his godfathers.
His mentors.
No, I'm talking about
His big uncles. His big uncles.
family picnic and shit. I'm talking about eating in the house. I'm talking about sleeping over. I'm talking about and then his family's from Houston, so he is very unique because he grew up with the Harlem, Houston, and Los Angeles rap vibe, and growing up in the studio, never being allowed to rap. And then he ends up winning a rap contest in Houston. Jay-Z told him he's going to do this, that, third. And he ends up meeting me as a grown man. And we end up meeting each other. And I just realized this motherfucker's been doing this forever. Like this he got this forever.
Talented.
It's just different. That's all I got to say. There's a lot of people that record raps, have methods, all this shit. He's one of those guys like Jay. He doesn't fucking read or write nothing. He goes in like 38 Special. Those guys, they don't read or write nothing. They're just one take go. They dreamt of this moment. It's gonna happen, and home. That's it. You're like as a recording engineer or producer, or beat maker, whatever you want to call it. I'm always capturing like some guy who's performing in front of 30 million people.
Yeah.
That's the energy that I get when I'm recording these guys. So, but yeah, Juice definitely was probably my formative world project.
So, Max, can we get a part 2 to
Yeah,
this?
whenever you want. I'm back for part 2 whenever you guys need me, and thanks for having me.
Hell yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Don't worry about it.
Actually, I got one like it might come out to a question. I just gotta.
Go ahead, man. We're here.
I mean, I've been listening to your accolades and how you nonchalantly just talk about all the incredible people that you've had like the privilege and like what you've championed of working with, and all these incredible feats that you have accomplished, and all these people that you've like, helped, become who they are, and the type of person you are with the community on that. Because I'm very big on the community and bigging up other people, and and helping other people and other artists or other, in general. I just like the way that you contribute, your talents, and like you said, working with independent artists now, but in the past you were working with, some of the biggest artists, but they weren't big yet. So I like where the grassroots come from, and I appreciate and someone in our position, and we are looking at it like you talk about it like as if we would just go to the store, like something normal like that. You talk about these big things that we can, people have only dreamed of.
I am talking about some 35 years, so
Yeah.
it's not like
Let him finish, Max. Let him finish. Real quick.
Yeah.
It sounds cool, but it really is 30 years.
No, absolutely. And I worked in TV, like television. So I met a lot of famous actors and everything like that through my experience. Like I was on the radio for a long period of time. I was in the radio with Funk. I've been with 50. I've been on the radio station with a lot of big artists and a lot of big actors too. So like I definitely understand that. But all those times were like heights of my career. Like, and this was 20 years ago when I was on the radio. So, but now, and you're talking about 35 years ago, but I talk about it like, holy shit, this is who I met. This is who I worked with. This is what you're like, man, I just know the guy from the corner. Like, you talk like there's these regular guys, regular people. And I just love how humble you are and how appreciative you are of everything that you've experienced.
Let's all have this in common.
Yes.
I'm positive, and I think and I know. It's not going to be a stretch when I say this. I don't think that Jay-Z, Puffy, and none of these motherfuckers is rich enough that they ain't still got to wipe their own ass.
True. Absolutely.
I'd like to hope that they definitely are still wiping their own ass.
I'm going to say this to leave it on this note. I was in the Los Angeles Intercontinental Hotel, right? and it is the tallest building in Los Angeles. And the lobby's on the 70th floor, and there's this beautiful thing called the Client Service Lounge or the Client Lounge. I can't remember exactly. Club Lounge. That's what it's called. Club Lounge.
Club Lounge, yes.
Club Lounge has unlimited food and unlimited beverages, including alcohol. So it's a cool.
Unlimited everything. Yes.
Yeah, $100 a person, and you get in there. At least that was what our discounted rate was.
Yes.
And so we didn't want to leave. Once you leave the Club Lounge,
You can't come back.
your all you can eat is over. So
Yeah.
we're in, we wanted to know, damn, is there a bathroom? And so they said, there is. And so there was a door there. So I went in there with Juice thinking, like, we go into the men's room. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're going to get a stall, I get a stall, we're going to do our thing. And nah, it was a big 2,000 square foot room with a toilet bowl in the center of it with 5 seat couch. And I'm thinking to myself, so
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, I'm gonna take a shit here and you're gonna sit on the couch. I don't get the fucking the architecture, but with the view of the hills and the Hollywood sign and shit. And then I said to myself, damn, bro, like normally this club now is supposed to cost $350 for this all you can eat shit. But damn, they're giving away food up here. This is some rich people shit. And they got a bathroom in the middle of the room. And we started imagining, why would you need that with a seat neck? Like, who would take a shit with an assistant? Why would the Intercontinental Hotel have it set up like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I realized there are some people out there that are wealthy enough to have other people wiping their ass. Actually,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's.
I thought you were gonna say something like there was a bidet in there or something.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Off the Record podcast. We got Max, Show, Jay, Tone Deaf in Florida. See you next week.
Oh, show, peace.
All right, man.
Blah,
I love you, bro.